to examine how a locked user's credit line may be accessed in order to actually purchase in-cart items. The cart is empty, however, at the moment, so we'll want to add a few items to it first. We'll click the product selection link to scroll up to the product lists on top of the page. Let's use the same item from a previous example, which is of a primary type of Office, a secondary type of Full Suite, and with a brand name of Microsoft Office 2007. Let's request 3 licenses of it at the product quantity box. We'll click Add to Cart to add it in. Finally, we may click Cart Items link in order to view current cart item listing. We will notice that cart statistics reflects the changes along with cart item information. Cart count reads 1 now because we've added a new brand name of a product to purchase where there was none before as the cart was empty. Cart size reads 900 megabyte as that would be the size total of all installation files for all items in the cart, which, at this moment, only include a single one, namely Microsoft Office 2007. Finally, the shopping cart total indicates that the amount due for all items together, of which, again, there's only one, is what's made up of all 3 licenses of Microsoft Office 2007, meaning $249.89 per license, times 3, which is a grand total of $749.67. Let's review what's happening in the database behind the scenes. As previously mentioned, items that get picked or selected for purchase would be put through 2 stages by the application. First off, they'd be stored in a temporary database table called pending orders. This stage will happen every time that an item gets added to the shopping cart. The opposite is also true. Every time an item is tossed out of the cart, it will be deleted from the pending orders database table. Additionally, in case more than a single license of an item has been put in the cart, and at some point decreased, then the newly calculated number of requested licenses will be updated in the pending orders database table as well. The second stage may or may not happen after this. In other words, only if an actual purchase has been made, meaning in-cart items have been bought and paid for, will item information be moved to another database table for permanent storage. An example scenario would be where a visitor or user would like to purchase a few items at once as part of the same deal or transaction. They may be putting 1 or more items in the cart, then go back to the product selection area of the page, and then, perhaps, select some additional items and put them in as well. Only then would they be ready to check out, meaning to make their actual purchase. Another scenario might be where a visitor or user has some sort of a spending budget and is reviewing all kinds of item bundles to gain a better understanding as to various sum totals, thus might be adding a few, decreasing a few, or even tossing out a few items as necessary. Okay, let's review cart contents in here. There is a single item in it. Its automatically generated number is referred to in the pending orders database table as pending order ID. Next table field is called deal ID. It contains the current session ID, which, at this time, is UMW55VECDTIXOIYDXGTTVJK. The third table field is called customer ID. It contains a null value, which, for all practical purposes, is considered to be empty. Now, why is that? The reason is that at a particular point, this item was added to the cart, and thus, to the pending orders database table, which was earlier today, and specifically on 5th of December, 2014, and at 14 minutes and 3 seconds after 11 a.m., it was really a visitor, being on a guest status, who added this item in. In other words, since, on one hand, each and every one of our registered users, meaning users who signed up at some point beforehand and are now considered to be valid members of the PC Store webshop system, should have their very own member ID value, but, on the other hand, the application had no knowledge as to exactly who that was, let alone if it even was a member. Then, as a visitor, they had no member ID value that could have been set at the customer ID table field at all. That is why this value remains null. The fourth table field is called Product ID. It contains the ID of the product title item that has been added in. Table fields number 5, 7, and 8, namely quantity, date, and time, are self-explanatory. However, table field number 6, namely total amount, is worth reviewing. It contains the unit total price for the same row item. But the question is, how did the application know that? After all, this number isn't kept anywhere in the database. Well, the answer is very simple. Since the application did have the product ID value, which, in this case, was 20, it looked it up in the products database table. Thus, the application found the value in the price table field, which was $249.89, then multiplied it by the value at the previously available quantity table field, which was 3, and finally calculated the unit total price to have been $749.67.